Hello everyone. This video is in this video, I am telling you how to find your purpose in life if you don't know what your purpose in life is. So if you're unsure of what your purpose in life is supposed to be, then this video is for you. And if you think you've already found your purpose, but you're still sometimes questioning for you. So that's what this video is about. And basically, I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly how to find your purpose right now. So actually, I'm going to tell you right now exactly what your purpose in life is, like literally right away, as soon as the video starts. So here it goes. Here I go. Your purpose in life is to follow your joy, to follow your bliss, and to be as happy as best as you can be. And before you click away, let me just explain exactly what I mean by that and how you can go about doing that. Because I know that sounds like a stupid cliche. Just follow your joy. And then if you have depression and a lot of anxiety issues like me, to where sometimes you can barely function in life, then obviously following your joy, following your bliss, and being as happy as you can be is not exactly easy. In fact, it's incredibly difficult. So here's how you go about doing that. Basically, to follow your joy, you just have to do a lot of trial and error. If you don't know what your joy, if if you don't know what your passions in life are, then you have to do a lot of trial and error to figure out what they are. So you have to, and I have personal experience with this because, basically, to figure out what your passion in life is, you have to try different careers. I'm speaking about this from a career perspective. I'll get into how to figure out what hobbies you're passionate about, but obviously you're probably watching this video because you want to know how you can figure out what your dream career is, right? So, of course I'm right. You want to know what your purpose in life is as far as a career goes. And the way that you figure that out is through trial and error by following your joy. And if you don't know what your joy or passion is in life, then that's why I say you have to do trial and error. You have to simply go out there and do some research online and try to figure out what jobs you think you would be passionate about. How do you do that? Well, you have to look at what you're already naturally good at. And then also, what you love doing as a kid is a huge indicator of what your true purpose is. Because whatever it is you were doing as a child, you were just doing because it was fun. You were just playing. So I'm going to give you an example here. I was watching just now this video on YouTube, and it is called I don't know the exact title of the video, but the video is on YouTube. You can look it up yourself, and it is Jacqueline Dupre, her husband Daniel Barenboim, and Pinchas Zuckerman playing Beethoven's piano trio in D major, Opus 70, number 1, otherwise known as The Ghost. And the reason why I was inspired to make this video in the first place is, well, I was thinking about some people that, well, I was thinking about a specific person that I know, and that inspired me to make this video. But then also, I was really inspired to talk about this video because I realized that just by listening to, I mean, there's just nothing more magical as far as things that actually happen in real life that I can really think of sometimes, other than watching Jacqueline Dupre and her husband, Daniel Barenboim, play music together back before Jacqueline Dupre died at the very young age of 42 from MS, back when she was healthy. And, she was one of the biggest cellists in the world when she was alive, or if not the biggest cellist in the world. So when her and Daniel Barenboim got together, they made magic. And if you listen to that video, you'll see that magic. And I realized that just by listening to them, I was following my joy. I was following my purpose. I have found my purpose in life just by listening to their music. And, this is just a side note, but someone in the comments made a joke that the ghost that the music is titled after is the page turner that no one saw turning the pages. But actually, if you just read the very first comment of that video, one of the commenters says why the piece is called The Ghost, and it has to do with the haunting quality of the music. Apparently, you can just look up the video and read the first comment, and you'll see why it's called The Ghost. But I wanted to bring this up as well because Jacqueline Dupre is a perfect example of following your joy. I can't really think of anyone else who's a much better example of a person who successfully followed their joy, found their purpose by following their joy, and became extraordinarily successful because of it. And you know what? It started with her childhood. I was reading the Wikipedia article about her life, and apparently when Jacqueline was 4, I don't know if anyone knows if this really happened or not, but allegedly, when Jacqueline was 4, she heard cello playing on the radio. And she asked her mom, who was already a really successful musician herself, she asked her mom for quote, unquote, one of those, unquote. So she wanted a cello just because she heard it on the radio. She was just a kid playing, just doing what she naturally loved, which was listening to classical music. And she realized what her purpose was, to play it, play the cello, to play the music to play the deep sound of that particular instrument. She even got to the specifics of what instrument she should be playing, just from playing. And that's what you have to do to follow your joy. You have to go back to childhood. And I wanted to bring up Jacqueline Dupre as well, because whatever it is you were doing as a child that was fun to you, however it is you played, that's probably what you're meant to be doing for a career in some way. Like with Jacqueline, she just loved listening to classical music as a kid. So she followed her joy and she made a career out of it. And yes, she had to work really hard and practice a lot as a kid, and she didn't really have very much of a childhood, unfortunately. But she became really successful. And you don't even have to practice that much, because I was reading another story of someone else who basically only practiced like 2 hours a day, and he was a world famous musician with the career that many people would be jealous of. So this all comes back to getting into the vortex. And when you're in the vortex, you don't necessarily have to work super hard to be successful, but that's just a side note. Basically, I wanted to bring up Jacqueline Dupre because following your joy and finding your purpose in life is a very intuitive process there is intuition that is involved here. And that's the other thing. I know you want to go about this logically and think about, what am I going to make lots of money from? But you also have to remember that the money is going to come as a result of how happy you are doing whatever career it is you're doing. If you're doing a job that you're miserable about, it's very unlikely that you're going to be very successful, because you just won't have the motivation. You won't have the hustle in you. You're not going to want it enough to really do the hard quote unquote work. Because like I said, when you're really in the vortex, you're not going to have to work hard. It's just going to be a natural thing because you're doing what you love. So it's not going to feel like hard work. It's going to feel like something you want to do. You're going to want to stay up and work at this thing. It's going to feel fun. And yeah, it'll feel challenging at times, but the challenge will be invigorating. It'll be like, I want to do this challenge. You know, it's going to be fun. It's not going to feel, if you feel like your energy is drained every day after doing whatever thing it is you think you're supposed to be doing as a career, if you feel drained of energy after studying in school every day the thing that you think you need to get a degree in, then that is a clear sign that you are headed down the wrong path. If it's too hard, if it feels like it's draining your energy, then you're not doing the right thing, most likely. Whatever you're meant to do for a career, whenever you're doing it or studying to do it, like in school, like in college or whatever, it should feel life-giving. It should, most of the time. Yeah, there's going to be days where it will feel like hard work, most likely, but overall, most of the time, it should feel life-giving. It should feel like your energy is getting higher, not lower. You shouldn't feel drained. You should feel invigorated, And if you're not feeling that way, then something's not right. You're not really listening to your intuition. You're listening to your logic, which is telling you that you should be studying this thing. But it's not going to work out well for you, and you're not going to be successful doing that, most likely, because you don't really love it. It's draining your energy. It's the wrong path. So here's another example. When I was a kid, this is how you figure out what you should be doing as a career. I'm telling you guys, most of the time, whatever you were doing or playing as a kid is what you should be doing as a career. And here's an example that will help you understand what I'm talking about here. When I was a kid, I used to play with Barbie dolls a lot. I would also play make-believe a lot. But I would tell stories with my Barbie dolls. I would put on entire plays with my Barbie dolls. And the plays were very detailed. There were storylines. I don't really remember what the storylines were, but it was like a play. And when I would play outside by myself, I did things like imagining I was the queen of all the ants and the little ant pal below me and stuff like that. Like, I would just do all this make-believe stuff and tell all these stories. So now I realize that what I'm meant to do as a career is to tell stories in any way, but especially in writing, because that's just the best way to tell stories through writing, in my opinion, or, through film, I think is also a close second for me. And that's why I realize now that I couldn't, for a long time, I didn't think that I could make a living at writing. That's the thing. And that's where my logical mind was coming in and trying to kind of steer me in the wrong direction, basically, when I should have been listening to my intuition, which was saying, look at what you did as a kid, magical. Look at what you did as a kid. Look at how you made up stories. That's what you're meant to be doing. That's what brings you the most joy. That's what you're passionate about. So I should have been listening to that voice, but I wish I had realized that years before, like right after I graduated college. It would have been nice. It would have kind of given me a leg up in the world. And I'd probably be doing freelance writing right now, which is what I realized. I realized that it might take some time for me to make a living from my fiction, but I realized that there are lots of different avenues for me to make a living from writing. And that's why I want to start getting into freelance writing. I realize that now, that I can make a really great living from freelance writing. There's people that can make like over $5,000 a month just from freelance writing. There's people that make $10,000 a month from freelance writing. There's people that can make $15,000 a month from freelance writing. And there's lots of people who make like $100,000 a year from blogging. I didn't even know that. I wish I'd known that right after I graduated college, but I didn't. I was still stuck in the logical mind of I can't make a living from writing. But you can, and you can make a living from doing pretty much anything. You just have to figure out how to turn it into a business. But I wasn't really in the mindset to realize that back then. Like, I was just kind of thinking, oh, I don't think I can make it work. I need to figure out something more practical. So I fucked up right there just from listening to my logical mind a little too much. Of course, you want to be logical. Of course, you want to listen to your logical mind to do something that will make you money until you can find a way to make a living from your real passion. But just realize that you can make a living from your passion, from art or whatever that seems like it doesn't seem possible to make a living from. You can make a living from it. You just have to figure out how to turn it into a business. And so I brought up the example of my own childhood for you to, now you need to look back into your own childhood and think, okay, how was I playing as a kid? Figure out how you played as a kid. Were you a kid who like loved doing puzzles or something like that? Then that would kind of tell you, okay, well, then you need to specifically look at exactly what types of puzzles you were doing as a kid. Were they like board puzzle, like tabletop puzzles? Were they video game games, or was it building things with Legos, like that kind of a puzzle? It's not really a puzzle, but were you building things? Were you doing puzzles? Were you doing math for fun? Some kids are into that. Were you doing science experiments as a kid? Like, look at what you were doing as a kid and look at the specifics of what you were doing as a kid. Like with me specifically, it wasn't just telling stories. It was putting on plays. It was playing characters. And that's how I know that I'm meant to be a writer. But then, I also realize now that I also really love doing videos. So, and filmmaking is a way of telling stories as well. But I know my main purpose is probably writing, because that's what I did as a kid. And like I said, as a kid, you were way more intuitive. You were way more in touch with your higher self as a kid. That was before, and then kids are so much happier than adults overall. As long as you didn't grow up in a household where you had tiger parents or parents who expected you to do certain things that you didn't want to do. As long as you didn't have bad parents, you probably had a really happy childhood. Am I right? I mean, you probably had a really happy childhood. And you know why? It's because you were following your intuition more. You were just playing. You didn't worry about what you were supposed to do to make money. You just did what you wanted to do. And so if you look back at your childhood, that's going to tell most people what you should be doing as an adult to make money. And as long as you find a way to turn that into a business, you're probably going to make a lot of money. So look at what you did as a kid. Now, if you don't remember what you were doing as a kid, well, I suppose you could probably meditate and you'd probably remember some things. of what you did as a kid. But let's say you don't remember what you did as a kid. So how can you figure out what your purpose is if you don't remember what you did as a kid? Well, like I said, you need to think about the things that you are naturally good at and that you naturally enjoy doing for fun right now. So look at all the things you naturally love doing for fun right now, such as maybe a hobby or multiple hobbies, and look at what your natural talents are. Your purpose in life is never going to be something you are really bad at or bad at in general at all. Like, your purpose in life is always going to be something that you naturally have some talent in. I'm not saying that you have to naturally be extraordinarily gifted for that to be your real true purpose. You could maybe just have only a little bit of talent at this thing, but I think I'm just saying that what your true purpose is, you're going to have at least a little bit of natural talent at it, you know. And if you do have only a little bit of talent at it, it's probably because you were probably doing that as a kid, but then you stopped doing it when you grew up, and so now you're not as good at it. But just remember that you did it as a kid, so it's probably what you're meant to be doing. And as long as, like I said, as long as you have at least a little bit of natural talent at this thing, that could be what your true purpose is. But basically, your true purpose is going to be something that you have at least a little bit of natural talent at. If you don't have any natural talent at all at something, then that is probably not your purpose. That is probably not your true purpose. Okay? So I wouldn't go in that direction if I were you. You should have at least a little bit of natural talent at this thing, at whatever it is you're thinking about trying. And then, so you just look at what you naturally love doing and what you naturally have at least a little bit of talent in, and you just go online and then research different jobs that that talent or thing that you love to do is naturally involved in. So like, or, if it's something that requires a degree, then you can figure out, what degree you should be studying for that would prepare you to do that as a career. So like, if you really love, let's say you really love turtles or something, and like, you're actually really good at taking care of turtles and other people's like fish or something. Like, maybe you're like a fish sitter. I don't know. This is probably a bad example, but you can kind of get what I'm saying. Then maybe you should be studying marine biology. I don't know. Or maybe if you're not good at science, then you might want to think about going in a different direction with that. Like, maybe zoology, or that's involves science, but something that doesn't involve so much science. Like, you just have to figure out where your talents are and then what you love to do, and find something that bridges all those things together. So it's going to require some research online, first of all. Then once you've narrowed some things down, now you have to actually go out and try it. So that's where the trial and error comes in. Like, with me personally, I experienced trial and error after college because I would try different things that I thought I wanted to do. Like, in college, I thought I wanted to be a clinical psychologist. I thought I wanted to be a therapist. And so I went to work at the Department of Mental Health, and I realized that it's just way too depressing. So I realized that's not what I'm supposed to be doing in my senior year of college. I realized this. So basically, I kind of wasted a lot of time majoring in psychology. I wish that I had just majored in English and gotten my degree in English, but I ended up majoring in psychology, and I couldn't finish my major in English, so I had to just get a minor in English. So, and that's because I was following my logical mind too much and thinking I needed to do something that would make me some decent money that I love to do. And I was thinking that it should be psychology because I couldn't imagine how I could ever make a living from writing back then, like I said before. So that was a mistake on my part. And basically, that's what you have to try to avoid. You have to do that by trying the thing out, like how I tried working at the Department of Mental Health and I realized it wasn't for me. And then I thought I wanted to be an early interventionist and work, help kids with their development, like how, those teachers that go visit like babies and little kids and help them learn how to speak when they have like speech difficulties. Like, I don't know if you've heard about that, but they're called early interventionists. Both of my nieces have had one. And just look up BabyNet and Bright Start is the company that really does it here in Columbia, South Carolina. So you can look them up as well if you're interested in that career. So see, I tried doing that. I tried being a Lyme therapist. And we worked in the same office as the people at Bright Start. And I don't know. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't for me. I'm not patient enough, and I just didn't really want to deal with it. Also, I couldn't imagine having to work with parents and kids. I liked just working with the kids and the parents kind of being there, with me. But like, if you're going to be an EI, you have to work with the parents as well. Like, it's just kind of awkward to me because I guess I have some social anxiety. I don't really like that. It's kind of a lot of pressure too, having two parents just sitting there making sure you're teaching their kid right, like it wasn't for me. So, but like, maybe that is for you. So basically, you just have to do trial and error by trying out the career, studying the thing. Here's another anecdote for you about this. I had a friend in college, and she was majoring in biology, but she couldn't stand it. She didn't really like biology, and so her grades were suffering. And me and my friends, we tried to convince her to go ahead and just change her major before it was too late, before she had to stay back too much extra time before graduating college. But she just didn't want to change her major. And I don't know why. I guess maybe she was scared. Like, if you're watching, friend, hi, I'm not trying to talk about you behind your back. I'm just using you as an example. Like, maybe you were scared. I don't know. But like, basically, you have to not be afraid to change your major. Honestly, if you can get away with it, like if you've gotten accepted by colleges already, I don't know how gap years work, but if you can take a gap year, I think a gap year is a really great idea because I didn't know what I wanted to do before I went to college, and I'm pretty sure like half or most of all college students don't know what they want to do when they start college. Like, when you're 18, you're just so much different than how you are when you graduate college. Your interests change so much, and usually by the time people graduate, I don't know about usually, but a lot of people drop out of college because they're obviously not studying what they really love. Otherwise they would want to stick around. I mean, at least I knew I loved English, so I was still double majoring in English for most of college. So I was still studying what I was passionate about. And I was passionate about psychology as well. So I had motivation. But if you're not seeing what you love, then it's just going to be miserable. And that's when it goes back to what I said before. You have to look at how you feel when you're studying whatever it is you're studying. If whatever it is, I'm not going to tell, like, obviously you could still be depressed and be studying a subject, because there could be lots of things going on in your life that cause depressed. And I know, because I have my own issues with depression and anxiety. But like, I mean, whatever it is you're studying, if it's not bringing you any joy at all, then it's probably not really what you're meant to be studying. I mean, this also depends on how depressed you are as well, because there's some people who are so crippled by depression that everything they do, they don't feel any joy from. So as long as you're not that crippled by depression to the point where you can't feel any joy in anything you do, then whatever it is you're studying should probably make you feel some joy sometimes, And if it's like I said, if what you're studying drains your energy, then it's probably not what you're supposed to be studying. If it gives you energy, then it probably is what you're supposed to be studying. And the same goes for whatever job you're doing. If you feel tired after work, I've always felt exhausted after every day after work at pretty much every single job I've ever had. So obviously I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing. And I know that. I'm just doing things to get a paycheck pretty much. And so at least I know that that's not what I'm meant to be doing. But some people don't know that. Some people are kind of blind to that. They think, oh, I'm making good money, this is what I'm supposed to be doing then. But it's like, no, if you feel drained and exhausted after work every day, as long as you don't have any health issues that are causing that, you're probably not doing what you're meant to be doing. You should be feeling the life-giving energy. Like I said before, you should be feeling more energized after work. The only issue here is that it might be that you're an empath like me, and you feel drained just from being around people all day because you're absorbing all their energies, and you could also have social anxiety. So that's the only exception to this, is if you are an empath like me who just gets drained just from being around people, multiple people, or you have social anxiety like me as well, or both. That's the only exception. Otherwise, if you're not an empath and if you don't have social anxiety and you feel drained from being at work all day, then you're probably not doing what you're meant to be doing. So you have to just try different things out to figure out what you're meant to do. And if you have no idea what you're passionate about in your life at all, then again, you have to just try out different things until you find whatever it is you are passionate about. So you could start with trying out different hobbies before you try out a bunch of different jobs. If you can, if there's like a hobby you could try that would give you a better idea of what you love to do. Like, I remember I was going through this a few years ago. I wasn't sure I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for a job. And I didn't really know what I was passionate about besides writing. And this was still, yet again, back when I thought that I couldn't make a living from writing. So what I did to find out what I was passionate about was I made a list of everything that I loved to do, whether it was a hobby or whatever, you know. I think at the top of the list was sex. And then after that, movies, watching TV, reading books, being in nature, surfing the internet, watching YouTube, things like that. So I just made a list of everything that I love to do, like as a hobby. And then after I wrote down everything I could think of that I love to do, I wrote down everything I could think of that I might love to do or that I might like to do. So I wrote down things that I've never really tried before, like I think I wrote down crocheting. I think I wrote down something like making bejeweled art or different crafts. I think I might have written down, lots of different things kind of like that, like sewing, things like just all kinds of things. I'm mentioning a lot of sewing things, but yeah, because I haven't really ever done much sewing, but I kind of liked it as a kid. So I kind of wrote stuff like that down, like just anything I could think of that I might like. I wrote it down on the list. And my plan was to go down the list, starting with the things that I knew I loved, and just try it again and see if I still loved it. And things that I wasn't sure I would love, and I was going to try those things. So that's what I think you should do. I think you should make a list like how I made a list and go down the list and try everything out that you can think of until you find out whatever it is you're passionate about. And whatever it is you are passionate about, whatever your true purpose in life is, it's probably going to be on that list somewhere. Like I think I wrote down 100 things. So you should write down 100 things. And I don't know if I could guarantee you, but I feel like whatever it is you're passionate about, it's probably going to be on that list. Like, I don't think you could be so totally unaware of what you're passionate about that you have no inkling at all of what it might be. I don't think there's just really any way. Like, you probably have an inkling of it. You're just probably not really of it right now. Like I said, it's probably something you did as a child. So if I were you, I would really try as hard as I can to remember what I was doing that was fun to me as a kid, as far back as you can go. Like, I remember my childhood, well, like better than most people. But like, if you can't really remember your childhood, then maybe think about what you were doing when you were in middle school, or what you were doing for fun in high school, or whatever you were doing in a time when you were happy in life, even if that was as an adult. Then you're probably meant to do that again. You never know. You just need to try it. And a lot of, I feel like if you're a guy watching this, you're probably just going to be sitting here thinking to yourself this whole time, video games. Like, I just loved video games as a kid. That's pretty much all I would want to do for a living. If I could do anything, I pretty much just want to be like Booga or Ninja or whoever is the big gamer, or what's his face? I can't think of his name right now. The guy that just kind of like betrayed FaZe Banks. What's his name? I don't know his name right now, but you could be like that guy. Tifu. Tofu. Or is it Tifu? That's his name. You could be like him. Like, you're thinking to yourself, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like Ninja. I want to be like Booga. So obviously, most of the guys who are if any guys watch my videos, that's probably what you're thinking to yourself right now. I just want to play video games for a living. And you can do that. Like, there's tons of people who make tons of money from playing video games. And I know that's, your logical mind is probably telling you right now, there's no way I could do that. because those guys are good and I'm not that good, and I'm too old or whatever. But it's like, no, you could still do it. Just work at it, on the side while you do whatever job it is you're doing now. Work towards being a full-time gamer. And how do you do that? Obviously, by watching people who are great at video games play video games, learning what they do, and you should probably pick. Oh, whoops! There's my alarm. And I don't really know that much about video games, but I'm pretty sure. Aren't you supposed to? I don't really know this for sure, but I think you might be supposed to focus on like getting really great at one game, like how Ninja, before he was playing Fortnite, he got really, really good at I think Halo, and then Call of Duty after that, and then I think it was like H1Z1 or whatever, so whatever it's called, and then Fortnite. So I think what he did was he specified in just perfecting his abilities on one game, so you might want to get really specialized and focus on just getting great at one game. So you probably need to find one game that you could spend 500 million hours a day playing and never get sick of. Personally, I don't think I could do that, but I do love Kingdom Hearts a lot now. So yeah, but like I said, I don't know that for sure. You need to do your own research on how to get good as a professional gamer. That's just what I think I've heard, but I don't know for sure if you're supposed to specialize in one game. But yeah, so and then of course you need to play a lot of video games. Like there's this guy I know, and he's actually really good at video games. He told me he plays video games 12 hours a day when he doesn't work. And then I imagine when he's not working, even on the days he works, he probably plays video games. That's pretty much all he does. Gamers, that's pretty much all they do. Like a lot of gamers don't really go outside. If you look at them, they all look anemic and they all look like they have bags under their eyes because they don't go out into sunlight, people. They just play video games. So if you want to be a professional gamer, you probably need to love video games that much to where you don't really want to do anything else. Because to be a professional gamer, you probably have to just like eat, sleep, and breathe video games. So you have to really love it. Like you have to really want it. If that doesn't sound like you and you just love video games, but you don't feel like you would really love playing games all the time, like 12 hours a day on your days off, then maybe that's not what your purpose is after all. Maybe video games are just a hobby for you. So you need to think about that as well. Like, because if you're not willing to put in the hustle for something, then it's probably not what your true passion is or what your true purpose is, unless of course you have a lot of insecurities and you just don't believe in yourself enough to hustle for it. But usually it should be something that you naturally want to hustle for. And that's how you can tell that that's your true passion. So with all that being said, I know this was a really long video, but I told you pretty much everything that you need to know to figure out how to find your passion in life. And if you just take my advice and you really ask yourself, is what I'm studying draining my energy every day, or is it giving me more energy overall? Or, is my job draining my energy? Or, is what I'm researching about and thinking about doing as a career draining my energy or giving me more energy? If it's giving you more is probably, or possibly, what your true purpose is. And that's how you follow your joy. You just trial and error, do what you love to do. You do whatever and if you don't know what you love to do, then you try out different things until you find what you love to do. Then once you found what you love to do a lot of what you love to do and find a way to get a job where you can do that. And if there aren't any jobs available like that, then work at a job that is something that you also love to do, or that you at least like to do, while you on the side work on turning what you're passionate about into a business through finding a way to sell it as a course, or some kind of program where you could make an ebook or multiple ebooks, and then you could also make a business selling it, like I said. So, and if it's not really something you can sell, then it's probably something you need to study to do. Then, like I said, you just research different things that you love to do and try to find careers that involve it, or you try to figure out what degree you could study for in college that will allow you to do that job, so that you can do it. And that's all I have to say for this video. I know this was a really long video, but please subscribe to me. I don't usually do videos this long, but I like to be thorough with the videos that I do when I have to talk about something like this. I don't want to just make a 10-minute video and leave you guys feeling confused at the end of it, like I still don't know what I need to do to find my purpose, because I can't stand when people make videos like that where they don't really explain everything, so that I have no questions at the end of it and I just know what I need to do. I feel like I explained everything. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe to me, and I love you. Bye.